Shalom Sid, shalom friends, chavarim. My name is Chaim Malespin. I'm a Galilean in the north of Israel. That's where my home is anyway. And it's just a real pleasure to be able to meet people who know that it's supernatural what's going on in Israel, what we're seeing. And I've been in this war for almost 600 days. Today, I think it's 585 days. And I believe that this isn't just a regular war. This is leading to something amazing. Well, we're leading up to Pentecost. Soon it's Shavuot, Pentecost. And I do believe this is a flashlight I'm using right now, just out in the field. And as a sergeant major, Rav Samal Mitkadem, it's a senior position, yes. And the main responsibility I have isn't giving commands. It's making sure that the mission succeeds. Yes, I have soldiers that sometimes are under my command, but it's making sure that everyone gets home and the mission is accomplished. And really, there's a lot that can happen in the field. You know, there's helicopters involved, tanks involved, tunnels. And as a combat engineer corps elite unit, we deal a lot with threats that the regular battalions aren't tasked with, aren't trained to handle. And we got to handle all those situations. And yeah, there are things that just come out of the blue, and you just got to be able to roll with it, be able to make decisions on your feet. And who'd have guessed this? You know, I never thought I would be doing this. I never thought I'd be saying this talking about this kind of stuff, being through what we had to be through. And I want to say this, people in the West, I feel they don't really understand what we go through, because for them, the war is not on their doorstep. It's not in their homes. Often it's, let's say, in the Korean Peninsula, a little bit far away. Let's say it's in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. People go for months and they come back and they have a debrief. For us, it's right next to our homes. I mean, in our homes in the south of Israel, in our homes in the north of Israel, where they've had to flee. The Aliyah Return Center charity, that's the charity that I run. And we had to rescue them, rescue the people and give them a place to stay and food and everything, and augment where the government was lacking and being able to help. And but here's the thing, if you look strategically and prophetically, what's this all leading to? As we wait for Pentecost, what's this leading to? Well, you know, if you look at the book of Joshua and you remember the Aliyah means that ingathering of the exiles, that return of the Jewish people to the promised land, the chosen people to the promised land. And you look at how those giants didn't choose correctly which side of history to be on. Goliath, his son, they chose to be those who were anti-Aliyah, to fight against God's plan. And it says like 700 times in the Bible that God is gathering the Jewish people to the promised land. I myself made Aliyah years ago, came home to the promised land. I was born in America. Dad, San Francisco, mom, Toronto, hippies. And we came here when I was 15 years old, 25 years ago. And so I'm looking at the prophetic significance of the fact that the one place where the giants were not defeated was in Gaza and the surrounding area. And we're in a time right now where we have the privilege and the God-ordained mandate to, at this pivotal point of history, to see that Isaiah 19 promise, which that promise is Egypt, my people, Israel, Egypt, my people, Assyria, my handiwork, and Israel, my inheritance. And so we're able to see that come to pass by removing the blockades, removing what stops that from happening. It's a prophetic work. I know it's a physical work, and there's actual landmines, and there's actual bombs, and actual snipers that we face, and rocket-propelled grenades. But yet it's something that, it's a pivotal juncture in history. It's a convergence of biblical prophecy and events that are happening right now. 251 of our brothers and sisters of our people were taken hostage. 251. Some have returned. Some have been killed. There's still more. Still, 58 more, some alive, some not alive, that need to return and be honorably buried or return to their homes. Just now, you have an American Israeli called Idan Alexander, after 584 days of Hamas captivity, and he was mistreated. I'm not going to go into the details, but he was not only not fed properly, but tortured. And it's God's will that we as good shepherds fulfill our role as good shepherds and stand in the gap for our people, for all people. Even the Gazans don't want these barbaric, dictator, anarchist, just these people who are just about the chaos, just about this end time scenario. So Operation Gideon's Chariots, that is what right now is before us. This is what we're training for. This is why everyone's being called up. I mean, so many able-bodied soldiers are being called up, whereas we didn't know if it would be possible to really go from top to bottom. And what is Operation Gideon's Chariots? Well, we're in the Swords of Iron War, and it's a comprehensive strategic military plan to dismantle all of Hamas's infrastructure and secure the release of the hostages by putting pressure on them. Yes, and this involves a full-scale operation. These righteous shepherds will bring their rod and their staff with them, mind you, and go to rescue the sheep of Israel from the mouths of the wolves. Of course, we'll move all the Gazans that are not Hamas to safe areas. Sure, of course, they're going to go to safe areas, and these are called sterile areas. We'll make sure there's no tunnels in those areas, and we'll be able to have lots and lots of distribution of aid, and I mean lots and lots. But it's not like before where hundreds and hundreds of tons, and you'd have so many hundreds of trucks that I would film on my daily videos. I don't know if you've seen an Aliyah Return Center. That's the charity I run. You look at every day and you'll see the videos of these of me inside combat zones, Lebanon, Gaza, all over Gaza, and they were robbing the aid. The Hamas was robbing their own people. Big surprise. They follow their leader. Yasser Arafat gave a very, very bad example of how to lead, how to not care for your own people. And so this way, they'll come to these areas that are sterile. They'll get food. They'll get supplies, medical, and be able to. And it will also, when we put these corridors, like the Murad corridor, like the Philadelphia corridor, and other areas, we're going to cut down the ability of them to be able to rearm and bring through tunnels more weapons and continue their jihadist goals, which are not God's goals. They're not compatible with the safe and prosperity and security that we promised our citizens, and our citizens deserve to be safe in their beds in the southern Israel. And the same way that Hezbollah was pushed back when we were there in southern Lebanon, we pushed them back behind the Litani River. That is what must happen, is to remove Hamas entirely and completely. And that's what Gideon's Chariots operation is all about. And I really love the name. Oh man, I love the name, because you think of Gideon in the Bible. Didn't they have like 34 or 35,000 people that were called up to serve? But some were tired. Some didn't want to serve. Some weren't ready to give everything, and they weren't trusting God. And when they drank, those who were righteous drank like this. Those who were not caring, or I don't know how you want to interpret it, they drank by lapping the water. And God says, "I'm going to win this with the few of you." I myself am going to bring a shofar, my friends. I'm going to bring a shofar, and I'm going to, just like Gideon said, get a shofar and get you a pitcher and say the swords of iron? No, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And I believe this whole thing, it's the sword of the Lord. And, it's really necessary. Personally, my family, I know this question was asked, how is it to lose friends, to bury friends? And I've shown that on my videos. Again, Aliyah Return Center, YouTube, Facebook. You'll see I'm at grave sites. I'm at funerals again and again and again and again. Can almost, it's unimaginable to live like this. Each one is someone's child, someone's sibling, someone's parent, someone's husband or wife, and the weight, the gravity of them entering eternity and giving all. There's no greater love that anyone has than this, than that they lay down their life for their friends and their families. There was one that's a rabbi, 8 kids, and he was a rabbi, but he was also a combat soldier. He fell in southern Lebanon. Friends of mine in Gaza fell. And here's the thing: is we got to be able to honor their sacrifice. We got to be able to bless them, and really there is some insights that we can learn from them and from how they loved, how they lived, and so we got to learn from that ourselves. And one thing I do want to share about is that when you look, I talk to them often when I'm praying for them, and I say, how does it feel to see, friends of mine in my team? How does it feel to lose friends? Sorry about the wind, a little windy here. And they say, look, when I look in their eyes and I see that neshama, I see the soul, the spirit leave, the ruach leave. They say, it's unimaginable. I don't want to go into the details here, but they see we're faced with eternity, and that is something that we're all facing. We're faced with eternity. Even if people are not combat soldiers, they're watching it on TV, and they're watching some of these funerals, and they have their pictures up on the fences, on their walls, on their kibbutzes, and it's part of all of us, and we're just on the spearhead. We're just on the forefront, okay? And so we're all being faced with eternity. How are we going to... And we're turning to God. Many people are saying, look, we need God more than ever before. Listen to how the hostages, many of the freed hostages, when they share, they say, God met me there in the tunnels. They'll share this. And they're reading the Psalms every day. And that's one of my ways. In my sleeve here, I have a little pocket, and I have in there verses that I'll read in the midst of the scariest times. And so I'm just going to give you a little few insights on what we're faced with. We're trying our best to minimalize all civilian casualties, dismantle the terrorist network, create conditions that prevent this is from ever happening again. And we use precision intelligence, precision strikes, using, as you know, leaflets, SMSs, even drones with Arabic saying, please leave this area. This area has shot a missile onto us, and it's unacceptable by our people, by our government, for them to be shooting these missiles on innocent men and women and children. And no, I know that their goal is to wipe Israel off the face. It's in their very charter, but we're not going to allow that. We are not going to allow that. Not on my watch, my friends, not on my watch. And the God of Israel wants his righteous shepherds to arise. And that's what I believe. I am a shepherd of Israel. Now, people are asking about President Trump. He's here in the Middle East right now, not coming to Israel right now, but over in Saudi Arabia, getting a kingly welcome by bin Salman. And so it's funny because I called out it was a year and a half ago, in Gaza on a rooftop in Rafah, southern Gaza. I said on a video, I want Salman to be involved, and I'm hoping that is what will happen now in the rebuilding of Gaza. I want to do this together with Saudi Arabia. And you look at how the prophecy in Isaiah 60, it talks about the sons of Keturah. Car is going through it now. The sons of Keturah, and you hear how... Oh, 1 second. Yeah, sorry. You hear how the sons of Keturah are mentioned, and you know that Midian, and you have Jethro coming from Midian, and you have also Sheba, and Sheba is really Saudi Arabia. So you know that their destiny is to bring actual gold and silver to build the international house of prayer. It's called the temple, to be able to bless Israel, not to be at odds with us. So this is in line, I believe, with the destiny also in Isaiah 19. Remember, Isaiah 19, it says, Egypt my people, Assyria my handiwork, Israel my inheritance. They three will be together in peace. And I'm dreaming of these days. But the enemy doesn't like that. The regime with Assad, the evil dictator who was killing people every day, like 100 people a day in that Syrian civil war. Then you have ISIS. I know he's wearing a suit now, al-Julani, al-Shara his name is, and HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and these guys are really ISIS, and they're not good. They're not good people. They've just, they massacred Christians, they massacred the Druze, they massacred the Alawites. They almost did an October 7th right there. These are things that are obstacles to this great peace. I know Saudi Arabia has great plans, and I bet they're talking to Trump right now about as Idan Alexander's being released, and as he's an American and Israeli, and as this dramatic unfolding is happening, and Trump says something very, very big is about to be unveiled. I do believe, if you ask me, I do believe that it is going to be a plan to involve Saudi Arabia with the rebuilding of Gaza. That's what I hope for, and now it's exactly what I asked for in my video. And I said, by faith, there can be Jewish families. I'm dreaming for the 21 towns, Jewish towns, to return to Gaza in the future. and to have worship and prayer in Gaza to the God of Israel. And I just want you to pray. I'm going to ask you guys to pray. Write these down. Do you have a pen and paper? Can you pull out your notes right now? Can you write these prayer points down? Pray for the safety, not just of me and my team. A lot of people are praying for me, and I thank you for that. And watch my daily videos on Aliyah Return Center. That's the charity that we're helping immigrants and helping supply the needy on the front line, people that are still in need of tactical gear, and then that's why I have this emergency aid initiative. But here's my prayer request for the safety and the strength of our soldiers and their families, and as they peer into eternity, that they will they will draw ever closer to the God of Israel. For wisdom and discernment for our leaders as they navigate the complex decisions, healing and comfort for those who have lost loved ones, and truly a victory, full and complete victory. And after that, after removing Hamas, that there will be a lasting peace. After victory, there'll be a lasting peace that honors justice and security here for Israel. And really, just that your intercession is like incense to the Lord, and He will hear your prayers and reinforce your bond with Israel. There's so much anti-Semitism in this world. I'm telling you, 50% of all adults in this world, it says, according to the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, they put these statistics out, and it says that 50% of all the adults have anti-Semitic, anti-Israel sentiment. And that's sad. We see that it's skyrocketing. The anti-Semitism is skyrocketing. We see how Iran is trying to zoom to get this nuclear weapon to destroy us, and they're sworn to destroy America too. They say that as well. And another prayer is just that all will make wise decisions, and not to really trust their word, but our goal is to dismantle that nuclear program entirely, not trust them. We've done that before, and really see a new season arise where Isaiah 19 will be effectuated. Really, guys, thank you so much for your prayers. And as we count the days up to Pentecost, to Shavuot, with the first fruits, it's called first fruits. We have the 7 species, dates and grapes and pomegranates and barley and figs and wheat, and we're counting the days, and each day we're supposed to give those sheaves to the Lord as our first fruits. We're supposed to bless God with our full heart in this time. And that's what I'm believing for, is for just like how the Spirit was poured out, just like how our tradition says the Torah was given on this time, my hope is that we're going to see an outpour of God's Spirit for victory, for closeness with Him, and even our enemies will shake and say, the God of Israel lives. We will cease, the Houthis will cease and say, we're going to stop shooting at God's chosen people. We're going to stop shooting at the promised land, the Holy Land, and we're going to see the deception and the invasion and the lies and the subterfuge and the takeover that we're seeing. It's strategic. We're going to see a turnaround. We're going to see kingdom of heaven invade. Even I believe that Saudi Arabia will start doing this thing called the Neom, the line. It's a 100-mile-long city which ends right near Israel in Jordan. It'll end right at that mountain where Moses looked over, Mount Nebo, looked at the heritage of Israel. And I believe that we're going to see that develop, and a pipeline and oil and Abraham Accords 2.0, my friends, Abraham Accords 2.0. And so pray that we will have full and complete victory. And thank you so much, my friends. I'm going to read a few verses here, as we're approaching Pentecost. And think of that unity. Just think of how the Tower of Babel was a confusing of languages. Remember, their languages were confused because they were trying to unite against God. But then on this time, right now on Pentecost, it's very soon, we have a coming together of languages. The Galileans, that's us, were given a gift of languages. We spoke in Arabic. We spoke in Persian. We spoke in Greek. We spoke in all these languages to bring the nations together for God's purpose. That's what I want to see happen right now. A coming together, an Abrahamic alliance right now. Zechariah 12 says, hey, those nations that seek to come against Jerusalem, I'm going to destroy them in Zechariah 12, verse 9. And we know that Isaiah 54, whoever attacks you will surrender to you. And so we know that God really wants to defend Israel Jeremiah 51, verse 36, I will defend your cause and I will avenge you. So, may God's will be done in this time. And I want to just say, guys, keep reading through Isaiah 19 there towards the end of the chapter. And let's believe for the roar from Zion, for the Spirit to be poured out, for a time of grace and supplication. God bless you and lots of love. Happy Pentecost real soon here.